like a small kid, right? I don't know.
Yes.
I believe this is Battle of the Year, right?
Yes, it was, yeah, in the Cypher Battle of the Year 2002.
2002. Do you remember how old you were back in Battle of the Year 2002? 11.
11? I'm really not sure with the date. If maybe it was 2001 or 2. I'm not sure, but I'm born in 91, so if it would be 2001, I would be 10 or 11. It's 2002. So this I really don't remember which year was it, 2002 or 1. So I'm always confused. But I was 11, 10. I start in 99, so I think 2 years, two or 3 years. Yes. Yeah, I mean, like, I was doing a lot of handstands. You know, I was really addicted to handstand, walking, and just playing around on the handstand. So I already had the force in the arms. So when I start my air flare, I didn't have the technique right. I was really high, but I could do, you know, like after 2 or 3 months, I could do 2. You know, like I'm not sure. I don't have the feeling of the time, but it was really fast. I start in the summertime, and already in the winter I did like 5, and then every week I did more. You know, like 5, 7, 8, 9, and then there was a little break at 9. I remember when I did 9 air flare, because I didn't have the breathe technique. So I was not breathing. I did 9 air flare without breathing.
Tell us about your breathing technique. Like, is it like?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, it's like, you know, Rubber Legs. He was like, "Hey, shit, your head is really red." You know what I mean? You know, I go down. I say, "You breathe?" He asked me, and I never asked even myself. I was out of breath, but I thought like, okay, hey, the move is hard. So, you know, that's the consequence of the move, you know. But then, you know, he asked me, I breathe, and then I realized, okay, I didn't breathe.
Yeah.
So, and then I start to breathe, and then I did like, after 1 week, I did 20. You know, straight up. After I just realized that I was not breathing right, and the rhythm, you know, because everybody breathes different. You know, I do like 2, and then I breathe. You know,
every 2 air flares, you take a deep breath. Like 1, 2.
Yeah.
So
but
it goes
if you do
in with 2 air flares and then back out with 2 air flares, or how does that work?
It depends. If you want to, you know, like for example, the way Pocket does it, Pocket is really fast. So sometimes, you know, if you want to do 4 air flares really fast, then you hold your breath for 4 air flares.
Yeah.
Because when you breathe, you get a little bit like chill. But if you want to keep, you know, the tension, you hold the breath like, you know, so you can be faster, and your stomach and the core is more, you know, like how do you say, contract.
Yeah. Well, that's some great. So it went the process of, so once you unlocked like a little bit of air flare, like it took you 2 weeks and you did like 10, 20.
Yeah, I mean, like first of all, everybody was like, even I remember Marcio. Now we are good friends and everything. But back then, you know, they say this is not an air flare. This one, especially 2003.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
You know, yeah. This was like the hopping one, like
at a
Ronnie
real high
was like
angle,
the first,
right? Yeah.
Yes. And this was more about the speed, and you know, like it was more visual. Sometimes easier moves looks more visual. You know, you can have the hardest move, but if it don't look visual and big, and you know, like even when you're on a big stage,
dynamic.
You know, we have it with a lot of b-boys. You know, American b-boys, they are crazy in little ciphers, but when you put them on a big stage, you know, you need big moves. You know? And this kind of
definitely.
moves where you use the space are always really good for the audience and
the
also
big crowds and the big stages.
Yeah. Yes, it works for everybody, and you know, like, yeah, that's why at this time, you know, Marcio told me like, yeah, this was not the real air flare, but there's a video like 1 year later, this was 2003 IBE. There I was 12 years old. 1 year later, I did like 35, but good ones on the stage.
Like with the like a little lower angle and legs open and stretched.
Yes.
But you do know, like what you know, which is really cool with you is that you're actually someone who proves that the airflare with a high angle leads to more possibilities in long term, because you know, a lot of people that learn like the low airflare with the swing and stuff like that, you know, the opposite technique of what you do there when you're very young, you know, most of these people have a hard time, including myself, because I learned airflare swinging low, like munch airflares and these kind of things. We get a harder time in these positions, and so what I try to do with the kids is teach them this technique that you're doing right here, high angled airflares, and definitely with like the hop with the legs and stuff like that, because you're the freaking proof that it takes stuff to the next level, right? As we're gonna see, you did some crazy freaking stuff.
And back then, you know, you know, because I started with 8, you know, and a lot of people who start with 12, they are more the technical guys. At which year do you start dancing?
How like 2000, 2001?
I mean, like, how old you were there?
Oh, I think it was, not sure, like 15, 14.
Okay, alright. That's why
started late, bro. Started late.
Even Rubber Legs, he started with 12, and he's also really technical because he knew what he was doing. You know, he was still a teenager, but not a kid. You know, and I was more about observing people and just watching and learning from watching. You know, so at this moment, I didn't even know how I do airflare.
You were just you're lucky enough to find that freaking angle.
yes, I find the angle, and I was really good with handstand, walking, and all this stuff. That's why, you know, when you see people like Bobby, you know, like Bobby, he's always in a handstand. You know, like when he does airflare, he's always in a handstand, but the legs are really low.
You just brought out the best freaking thing. But Bobby is also like the proof that you can, you know, learn your airflare high, but then when you get it to that next level, you can choose low, high, like whatever.
Yes.
It's just that perfect technique. And I do think a lot of people are still a little skeptical, even after all of this proof almost. A lot of people are like, no, the high airflare, it's not good. But it's like, for me, it's like number one, the number one technique for learning airflares. Like if somebody would have explained me this way back, bro, things would have been a lot more different right now. I wouldn't do as much Halo as I do right now, right?
and because, you know, it's really hard, and you do to keep the motivation high when you practice the same airflow for 1.5 years and you don't evolve or anything. So you need this kind of success moments, you know, even if they're high, but you know, oh, I can do 3 airflares, even if they are really high, but you know, it inspires you and motivates you to practice more and to work on it, you know. And you know, even especially with your workouts, I like the helicopter handstand, where you walk in a handstand, you know, open legs, and then you go behind the head, you know, with the arm, you know, like this levels, you know, you start with just walking, then you go here, and I really like the way you teach it. And even me, if I teach airflare, I also like to teach like you.
That's really good to hear. That's really good to hear.
Yeah.
So, you know, after this stage, so at IBE, you obviously made a lot of noise. People were going nuts. Even like me, I was a little older back then. You know, I was probably like 17 or 18. I was almost an adult, you know? And you and Lil Kev and maybe El Nino, you were like the only 3 kids in the scene. And then a little later, like Khalil showed up. But, you know, it's actually really dope to you know, to hear this story of you actually being a kid and going through this whole process until what you are today and what you've all done today. So after this, let's say like a year or 2 after this, things just went to that next level, and then this kind of popped up. And then this is where I think people knew you as the little kid that did crazy airflares in a circle, and then you kind of transformed into, oh, this teen that's doing really hard things things that have no names yet, you know what I mean? So what kind of So what I want to ask specifically about this era is how did you manage to break away from the daily kind of normal? Like, right, you go to school, you probably have family, probably most of these people are not doing, you know, air flares straight to their head. Like, how did you, what helped you mentally to break away from the normal and say, okay, I'm gonna not, you know, be good at breaking, I'm gonna just take these freaking moves to the fucking next level? Like, how did you get to that? Like, what was the mindset behind that?
The mindset was, you know, a team of 5 people, Robberlegs, my cousin, and 2 other friends, you know, like we lived all in the same city, and it was, you know, like the loyalty, you know, when, you know, even in the summertime, when
Bro,
somebody
wait,
say,
wait,
okay,
sorry,
we wanna
sorry, bro. Key word right here, guys. Loyalty. Key
Oh
word.
shit!
Yo.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
we missed
Yeah,
that.
but I mean,
we
like
missed that.
Hey, loyalty, you know, I mean, like when somebody say, okay, we want to go swimming today, we don't come to the practice, we didn't talk with him for 1 week or 2 weeks, you know, just to let him feel, you know, because
Yeah.
you know, it was, for us it was not a joke. We wanted to be the best in the world, not the best from our city or just the best from Germany, you know. This was never our goal, you know. We compare straight with the best, you know. And yeah, and this was, you know, like the driving force, you know, I to be the best, because we already had so much good feedback. I remember the first b-boy battle I did was like a junior battle in 2000. And you know, I never knew how good I am till I have the, you know, like the you know, I had people to relate to, you know. I have other kids,
Yeah.
you know, where I can you know, like compare.
Yeah, compare and measure. Yeah, of course.
And then when I saw, okay, hey, there's so much big difference, you know, between me and the other kids, because I was just practicing in my city and I didn't see anybody. Then I came there, and it was the first time I see other b-boys, you know, like kids, you know. And I was like, okay, you know, I took it really serious, you know. And then I was like, hey, shit, you know, they are just doing baby moves, you know. I
Yeah,
was
like
already doing windmill, hat
backs.
spin,
Oh, okay.
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
everything, you know. And then I won the first battle, and there starts the confidence, because
It's
no
possible.
matter what you do in your life, it's all about confidence, you know. That's why it's also important for parents to say to their children, you are the king, you are the best, you know, to push them, to make them believe in themselves, even if it's just one person, you know. It works, you know.
And rise above the normal.
Yeah, and you are a coach. You know how to push your
Yeah,
kids
it's
and
a
how
daily
to,
freaking struggle, man. I'm not gonna lie to you,
Yeah,
bro.
man.
Keeping
Because
standards
you
high.
know,
Phew.
and you know what they are able to do. You know what kind of stretch they have, what possibilities they have with this stretch. So you see the whole vision. You see 10 years above, and you just tell them, you know, be loyal, trust me. I know, you know, just, you know, like. And that's why, you know, this is so important, to have people who believed in you. And at this time there was not many people doing airflare, so we have to believe in ourselves and push each other, you know, like always making challenges. Who does the most head spins, most
Really
windmills,
pushing each
whatever, you
other.
know. Yes, you know, we like to be creative and create stuff, like you see already in the video, you know, like a lot of stuff, because Robalex was the guy with the leg behind the head, and he say, you will not do this, you gonna do the
Your shit.
back flexibility.
Oh,
No,
okay.
he wanted me to do the back flexibility. It was like a crew thing, you know. Like now you have people doing everything, you know, in battles, like one-on-one you have to do everything.
All
But
around.
back in the days it was more crew battles. You had one guy who was doing all the footwork, styles, you know,
Yeah, the
attitude,
popper.
everything, the popper, the palm mover. So everybody was just focusing on his shit. And even me, I was able to do my leg behind the head, but Roblex was like, no, this is me.
He was like, no.
You know what I mean?
Correction. He was like,
Yeah, yeah.
nine,
But
nine.
yeah, but I like that he told me this, because, you know, as a kid, you can do everything. So you will never find your way if you try a little bit of everything, you know, you have to
You're
stop.
gonna end up with nothing.
Yes, yeah.
So
That-
tell me
that's
about
why,
that. So
you know-
so this group of five. Is this Terror Bunch? You're talking about Terror Bunch, right?
I mean, like, this was battle. Not everybody was in our crew.
Okay.
Rubber Legs, me, and Race. You know, I don't know. He you don't know him.
I
probably.
don't
He
think
was
I
in
don't
Terror
believe I know him.
Bunch.
Yeah.
He was in Terror Bunch later, because when we did Battle Bunch, he was not good enough to be in the crew.
Okay.
So it was like around 2004-5 when we created Terror Bunch. This was like a mix of Battle Bunch and Terrorism, with Salajin, who was like one of the pioneers of tricking, who brought tricking to the b-boy scene, and all these backflips, corks, you know. Like, of course, you have Steve Terrada, right?
Yes.
He was also doing tricking, but like Salajin put it on the next level, you know, like all this tricking stuff, double
I
backflip.
definitely remember Salajin. Yeah.
Yes, and he also battled against Anis Sharufa. He's one of the pioneers of tricking. So, and this was already the time where we were open to other stuff. You know, I was doing theater stuff. I was, you know, like dancing, you know, in theater, dance theaters. And yeah, I was open for everything, to create, to be myself. Every platform that I have that I can be me, I like to present myself in the best way I can. And you know, every time there's a new platform, for example now TikTok, there's also a cool way to promote b-boying in a cool way on TikTok.
If you,
You know,
hey,
I'm
where
not the
there's a
guy
will,
who
there's a
say-
way. Yeah. No, you're right.
You know, I'm not the guy who say, okay, this is bullshit, this is childish or whatever, you know. I always see the beautiful, you know, and the positivity and everything.
Definitely.
So, you know,
and
yeah, it was all about this five, you know, partners, you know, and after the time you see who really stays forever, you know what I mean? Like everybody, because for me there was one time when I finished my school, and this was the time. Now it's all about me, what I'm doing right now.
And
Do
what
I
you
really
wanna
want to
do.
live from dancing? And you know, at this moment I had a really nice you know, like comparison. I was like, this was around 2009, and I was already dancing 10 years, you know. And no matter which job I would do, or which you know, like on university, or what I would study, I would never be so good in 3 years or 5 years. You study 5 years, right?
well, it
I
depends
would
on what you
never.
do, right?
So, no matter, yeah, it depends, or on every, you know, which job you would do. You know, some in Germany we say Ausbildung is like education,
All right.
job education, and it takes 3 years. And I was like, hey, I don't know which job I would do where I can be better than in b-boy, because, you know, now you compare 5 years of studies against 10 years of dancing.
Of breaking, yeah.
In dancing, like b-boying, I'm on the top list, you know, like world best b-boys, you know.
Of course, definitely.
So, and then I was like, for me, it was so easy. I was like, hey, I cannot throw away 10 years and now start a new life. I was like, I choose this way. And my father was always like, okay, because he didn't believe in me. He's like, okay, now show me how you're gonna do it. You know,
And you were
because
like,
I was like,
double
"Hey,
air flare.
the way.
Bam.
No, but I mean, like, you know, and then one thing come to the other, and you have to use the internet, you know. Then 2005 the internet came out, you know, like YouTube, you know, and this changed also everything, you know?
It changed everything. Hey guys, pre-YouTube b-boys, you know what we're talking about, right? YouTube changed
Yeah.
everything.
YouTube changed everything. I
But
mean,
you know,
like,
on the other hand, it is, you know, some things, some charm has gone away, of course. But you know, we wouldn't be able to do this if there wouldn't be any internet, right?
I'm thankful for all the technology, and you have to use it right.
You have
Use
to use
it,
it right.
don't let you.
Hey, you're gonna hate me for this next one right here. You're definitely gonna hate me right here because you know you're obviously still a teenager in these years, and
Okay.
you know, teenage fashion isn't always, you know, you know, that good.
no,
But
it's
I
okay.
had to take a freaking screenshot of this, and I had to ask you about the haircut right here, bro.
Yeah, the haircut. I get paid for this, bro. It was a L'Oreal show, and this was the time where we start to do shows. And L'Oreal, L'Oreal, right? Yeah, they cut my hair
L'Oreal,
and
yeah,
also
yeah, yeah.
painted. Yeah, and I was like, fuck it, I need the money.
Hey, don't hate me, bro. Here on this YouTube channel, I try to keep stuff raw, and it's kind of funny, right?
No, I like it. I like it. I like it. I
So,
like it.
I'd love to zoom in right there, but I don't have the technology yet. So, obviously through time, you started doing some next level stuff, and I just wanted to just put this highlight right here because this is so freaking. Whew. And I managed to just like keep the footage as long as possible. I'm gonna try and put it in slow motion right here.
No blue.
So speed. Let me just slow it down. Oh, it goes faster right there.
You are making everything live right now. You slow it down.
Bro, I'm using OBS live stream kind of like software. It's really good. It's complicated, but I'm getting there, bro.
I have it too. I mean I also react, but it's dope how you did it with the Coach Sambo. www.com and everything.
Small pieces, bro. Like for sure.
I love the details.
You could take it to this next level, bro. Like still
thank
learning,
you
but we're getting there. Hey, but let's just talk about this combo really quick because I don't know if you have a name for the air flare that goes from an elbow up to hand. Because we
say elbow up, elbow, like in German we say elbow lange Arm because
what say that again in German?
Yeah, I mean like me and Robert, like we always said elbow lange Arm. It means like you go from the elbow to the long arm.
Okay.
Elbow lange Arm. Long
elbow lange Arm.
like a long arm. It's weird, it's just communication. Sometimes you have moves.
You have to do
just find names, really quick. And then you use it forever.
And this is something that has to be done, bro. This is like getting into that Olympic level. Coaching is about to, the way coaching is about to go to that next level, right? And obviously, as a coach, we developed our own freaking kind of language. Me and my students and Battle Droids crew, and we call the elbow to hand air flare. We call that a Marcio. Because
a Marcio?
Yeah, we call it a Marcio because it's kind of like Marcio. I'm not sure if he was the first one doing it, but he was the guy to definitely maybe do like multiple really clean and open. What are your thoughts on this, Mr.?
Yeah, I mean, he took it to the next level. He was on the blue mats, right? The first video.
And legs,
was like
legs with the Oberspreizen. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he did like 15 or, when you reach it to this point, when you do a move 15 times, it's getting boring.
Yeah.
Even him, he was creating so many other moves after this because there was a time where it was always about who can do the most air flares. But when you're a creator, and Marcio creates so many moves and everything, this was a time, okay, everybody, was going crazy about these moves. But after a while, he was just doing too many variations, and you don't see even the pure elbow up.
Yeah, he just made it so complex.
Yeah, and this is also sometimes, in a battle you expect so much from yourself, even when okay, how much you are able to do, and when you sometimes you win a battle, but you are really bored of yourself.
Oh, because I hate that. Yeah.
You just press the button. Okay, this works, but sometimes you just have to take a risk and
refresh.
For me, refresh, and I really like to take a risk, and even if I fuck up, I at least try something new, and because I don't like to always repeat the same.
No, and that's definitely.
But I mean, like in this competition, you have to know what you do. Like on this level, I talk about back in the days, but now you have to know what you do, and even your body, like the muscle memory. If you mess up a little bit, but the body saves it, because he know the movement.
He knows. So so what you're exactly what's going on right here for maybe some people are watching this that are not that really don't understand what is going on right here. So basically let's just break it down really quick. You're here anyway, right? So it's like basically what we would call a Marcio, and then on that catch hand you just go into like a one-handed hollow back kind of, and like you really sticked it. You could feel like how stable you actually land, and kind of like it almost feels that you're at a point where it's going to rewind. You know, that kind of balance point where it just goes back, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, that's why you need good people around you. I didn't even feel this move. You know, I did it, and you know, Pete Air was like, "Hey, can you do it again?" Oh shit! You know, because I was trying some stuff, and he was like, "Hey, you know how this looks?" You know, he just liked the beauty of the move. You know, you know, it was not. Of course, it's a hard move. It's really hard, but it's beautiful at the same time. You know, because you catch it and you hold it. You know, this makes the effect, you know, so visual. And you know, sometimes you practice stuff, but you don't think they are ready or they are good enough.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you need people around see the potential and the beauty of the move and just say, "Oh shit, this is crazy one." You
Yeah,
know,
like the right advice, the right advice from the right person at the right time can just create the craziest things, right?
Yeah, yeah. This is
so
a lot of moves was
Pete Air,
created
right?
like. Yeah, Pete Air told me to do it again. He's like, "Hey, wait, let me record it one time," and this was the recording.
Yeah, that move is absolutely sick, man. And that's just what. And what's crazy about this is not maybe the move itself, but how high the difficulty level is when you compare it to, you know, other people back in that time. And that's what, you know, set you apart from a lot of people right there. And then we're gonna move on to this next move right here, which is really interesting because, you know, you're giving away what did you say, 10,000 euros, $10,000?
Yes. But I think that this challenge was only for 2020. I think we have to make a new one.
Hey,
now.
Yo, if you want, you can make a new challenge right here. What's gonna be your challenge for the double airflare, bro?
I don't know now. I have to make something new to refresh it because you know, the people lost interest.
Yeah, they lost motivation. Yo, because we had some people that were really close, like Bart.
Yeah, Bart is like, for me, one of the closest and the best technique. You know, because he spin on the space, and yeah. But this was, for me, you know, like I feel sometimes, you know, I did the move where I land on my chest. You know, you remember the battle?
and then going like a bit to a snake move kind of combo.
Yes. Yeah, and we had some complications, me and Tofik, because he was doing the move also. You know, and I was like, okay, I have to put a half around more, you know, because my chest is like 2, and I say I have to do 2.5, you know, and you know, this really I put, you know, that's why I also run. Now you don't see it, but I really run. I took all the speed. I pushed with the arm, with the elbow, with the legs, everything at the same time to get this, you know, to be high enough to spin. You know, sometimes you land on the shoulder, and you know, the right technique. Even on this video, I was not really high enough. You know, you have to be really diagonal, like almost over your head.
Doing like a head spin in the air, right? Like a no-handed 90.
Yes, but one of your students, he did it from the hands, right?
Well, we had a session a while ago, and we had everybody just throwing it like this and trying to, you know, do the double. But what we tried to do that session was we tried to do what you did right here, from the hands, but then exactly when the 2 rounds are finished, trying to get the hands there. Because if we were thinking like this, if we could do a double with this technique, place the hands and just connect it to windmill, that's just already going to be groundbreaking, right? Because after connecting to windmill, we could connect it to flare, and then, you know, maybe in the future we could connect it to air flare and get that 10,000 euros. You know what I mean? But yo,
and you could even, you know, like when you open the legs, when you land on the hands, you know, like then you can. The pressure would be not so much on when you open your legs, you know, so
you could like catch it. So this is crazy. When I look at this video and you do 1, 2, like the moment you hit 2 rounds, you actually still have like even half a meter of height to put your hands there, bro. Like you could be the guy to win the $10,000.
Hey, I have to practice it, but now, you know, like now in this time, you know, because we also live from it, you know, it's not our hobby or anything, we live it, you know, so you have to be always motivated and inspired, and, you know, like always keep your energy high, be positive, you know, because you know, sometimes you have to, it's also life, you know. As a kid, you just go to school and you go to practice. You don't have any worries about paying the rent or anything. So I don't want to use this as an excuse, but I just need the focus and the right. I think in the winter time now, all the places, the gyms are closed, and for this kind of uh, for this kind of moves, you need people around you. You cannot practice them alone.
And that's
You
really
need
hard
the
right
energy.
now with the corona and stuff like that. It's just
Yeah, you need people who push you, who scream, who like
energy has to be
the
shared, right?
trash talk. I like the trash talk, to move it, like everything. And you definitely need people, for this kind of moves. Just the vibe, the energy, and to bring stuff to the next level. You always need, you know. I mean,
Yeah,
like, of course, you can bring it to a level, like at this time I was practicing alone, like Roblex was gone, my other friend also, so it's only me I came alone,
do you
but the only
remember
motivation.
maybe like at this time when you managed to pull this like 2.5 elbow air flare? Like, what were you practicing a lot? Like, what was your body taking in most of the time during your practice?
Uh,
Like
yeah,
maybe like extra one hand hops. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, hand tops, everything, like
two
then
sides.
uh, I try a little bit, but that's why also my arm was not so strong, and that's why I heard it when I did the real one hand air flare, because the left arm was not strong enough. That's why now I would recommend everybody to practice hand jumps on both arms, also to have the position. This one,
Pike
like
position.
this. Yes. How do you call it?
So
How do you call it?
like the front one is just like basic one hand hop, like usually
Yeah.
looking towards the floor, and then when the chest kind of like pops up and you have the legs bringing in towards you, that's what we call a pike, like pike position.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Like I think
Yeah, nice.
like it's they call a pike freeze.
Yeah, and this position at the end, air flare, even how you, I think, teach it, or how Marcio, I talk with a lot of power move nerds like Punisher, Marcio,
Power move
everybody.
nerds.
And
Yeah.
and at the end is just air flare is a freeze to freeze, and if
That's
you
what
have
it's all
both
about,
position,
yeah.
if you have both position and the stretch and the power, then it's just about the timing, it's when to push what.
Yo, that is so important what you just said right there. It's a freeze to a freeze. And even
Yeah.
if you just like even just walk it over, that's how you learn the move a lot faster. And it's just, and that's the crazy part is, even me, when I started to learn air flare, I saw air flare, was like, well, I gotta learn this shit, man. It's so extreme. And I was, like a lot of people, just throwing, crashing endlessly.
Yep.
But it is possible to learn it this way, but it just takes so much more time, right?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
If you teach your kids power moves, which power move would you recommend them to learn first?
So the first two power moves I learn is, once they got a little bit of groove, footwork, top rock, and know the names, it's windmill and spinning handstand. Those two, because it covers both levels, right?
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, I also I talk a lot, with friends and everything. What is the best? And my friend Navid, he's from the south of Germany. He said also turtle.
Turtle is a really smart one as well, and I should actually teach
Yeah,
my
it's
students
really
more a little
smart.
turtle, because it gets you like the turtle freeze on both sides unlocked, right? And
Yes,
and
yes,
that
yes,
has
yes,
like
yes.
super advantage in the future as well.
Yes, and the turtle. Yeah, and I didn't see it this way. And when he told me, yeah, this is like the foundation of everything. Everything you can go up in handstand, you can go track, whatever. Go on the elbow, and this position. If you have a good turtle.
Yo, any
Uh,
beginners listening up right now, take notes. Take notes, my friends. Do stuff on both
Turtle is
sides.
so important, and I didn't practice at this time when I was doing all two out to bite shit. I was not practicing turtle at all, because this was so old fashioned that nobody touches these moves, and like 2 or 3 years later, then it became popular again, and people were doing new moves with turtle, and b-boy pop from
Oh yeah,
Gamblers.
beautiful. Yeah. But he was
He was doing
even at that time, he really mastered it. But it was still rare. Like, he was only one of the only guys using that level of.
Yeah, it was like a special move. Just he can do it, you know. Like,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I got a next clip right here. New shit. Extreme, like even today, it's maybe like 10 years old already, but it's like it's even still new shit today, and that is it's a flying backspin. Or is it air backspin? I don't know. How do you call that, bro? What is that?
This is air-backspin. I didn't call it this way. I was looking in the comments on YouTube, and somebody wrote it. I don't remember who it was, but I like the name. Air-backspin sounds so nice, and it's like it's the basic move that everybody learns from the beginning, and I just took this move and put it on the next level, you know,
And made something really dangerous.
Yeah, this was 2009. You know, this was like the premiere of the move. It was Battle of the Year.
It was Battle of the Year.
Lil G was there.
Like Team Schmetta, we were there for the first time at Battle of the Year 2009. That was our first year.
Crazy.
And
it's almost 12 years ago.
Madness.
No, this was like a premiere, and we were like just, you know, I was there with Robalex and my whole crew, Terror Bunch, and you know, we just came there to party, you know, to have fun, and you know, like just to show them, hey, it's our country, you know, because it was in Germany. I was like, okay, we have to show them, hey, we are here, you know, and everybody, and this move was, everybody knew this is gonna be the new shit, and everybody, please do it here, right here, everybody's here, and I remember everybody, you know, like even just do it, like Neek from Ruggeds. Everybody was like, hey, I heard you did a move, and what was this? You know, it's a crazy move, and you know, there was so many rumors of this move, and yeah, this was a big buzz back then.
Yo, this move is completely insane. And what I just want to, you know, look at a little deeper in the detail right here, because a lot of people might think, oh, this move really gotta hurt. But I think there's like two things that kind of like soften the blow, and it's probably like the speed you have, but also that perfect leg technique when you land it, bro. If you look at the slow-mo right here, you know, it's just like,
I mean, like aerial, when you do it, how do you call it? 1.5?
1.5 air flare?
1.5. Yeah, when you do 1.5 air flare.
Yeah.
You know, if you do it wrong, it's also hurting, you know?
Oh yeah.
But if you have the right technique, and it's like, you know, how do you say, you know, like the Zentrifugalkraft, you know, how do you say in, I don't know how to say in English, but
I think it sounds really nice in German as well. It sounds really good in German. Yeah, the center of gravity.
Center of gravity, yeah. You know, and it always takes you outside. You know, that's why I always take the speed to go outside, straight. So I don't lay on the floor and stay there, you know, because then all your weight,
it's just gonna pancake down on the floor.
But I take the energy and go up, you know, straight up.
Straight up,
I stand up straight.
You bounce right out of it, like a coin drop, like almost, right?
Yes, that's why, you know, this is really important to take the energy and use it, you know.
Yeah, I was absolutely shocked when I saw this back in the day. So another very extreme.
And this is some insider videos, man. You did your research.
I know my guests. I know my guests.
I have one question. How was it with I have to watch it with B-Boy Machine, man. It's also, he's
it was
a
really
legend.
good. He dropped some really good knowledge. Yo, everybody who hasn't watched the video with B-Boy Machine, definitely check it out. Legendary guy, just like you.
Yeah, it's more about top rocks, right?
We went in full musicality, man. We went full deep into musicality, and
I definitely gonna watch it, man. You should watch it too, guys.
You should definitely watch it too. I am gonna say, you know, I'm still working on these live streams. Obviously, the audio coming from Machine side isn't that crispy, but you definitely can hear the message. I hope this live stream is good by now. I hope you hear Lil Amok well. I hope you hear me well. Guys, don't shoot me if this is not, you know, perfect yet. I'm working so freaking hard. Like, people who've been following the channel see the evolution, right? I'm really doing my best, and trust me, I'll get the hang of this really, really quick. And I just want to take a little moment right here to thank you again, Lil Amok, for being on the show, because, you know, talking about Machine, you know, he's been a real legendary idol for me back in the day. But you too, bro, like, I really always watched all of your videos when they came out, when, you know, people told me, or when I figured out, oh, Lil Amok has a new video with P there, or with Rubber Legs, you know, it was just, you know, I was there, I was checking it, and I always got inspired to go to practice and then, you know, bust out, you know, whatever I can do. And
Yeah, I mean, like you're doing a great job. Even you know the way how you say you call it Marcio. You give credit to the OGs and
definitely.
you saw when you grow up and everything. That's why.
Hey,
You know,
do you know what
all
we
about
call
love and
the
Huh?
when you do a one-handed air flare from your elbow up to hand? Something that you also do a lot. We also have a
Yeah.
name for this one. We call it the Kim from B-boy Kim
Kim?
Young-soo. The end.
Okay, okay.
Because he
Nice,
was basically the
nice.
guy that took it. So when
Yeah,
we're,
of
when we're
course.
so
I
when
mean,
we're
like
gonna
there was Boy, you know, from Texas.
boy, yeah, definitely, yes,
Boy and Moy, you know, Heavy Koro.
yeah.
I think they did it also, but he made it in a palm move version and the combination also. You know,
I think
like,
he went
took it.
up and then to air flare and stuff like that,
Yeah,
right?
man. When I saw this,
It was
it was
just.
2000, IB 2005, right?
I think he like had a few videos before that, but definitely
Yeah.
like Boy. What all my students know is that Boy like was the inventor of the one-handed elbow air flare, and like each year at camp we do like a quiz and it's always there. Like the question is who is the founder of the one-handed elbow air flare. All
Nice.
these kids know this, man. They know who B-boy Boy
Nice.
is from Javi Koro. You know,
And you
that's,
do a quiz, bro? This is crazy.
Yo,
Nice.
I want it. Yo, let me know if in the chats if you want me to do a live quiz on one of these live streams, and I'm gonna have a lot of b-boy
Wow.
questions ready for you guys. And let me know if you want me to do that because I'm looking for new, you know, new stuff to do. Right? Obviously, I
Crazy,
have this
man.
platform ready.
Man, being your student is an adventure, brother. Really,
Well,
it's nice how you make it always interesting for them. You know, like.
I always really try and keep that b-boy game alive. You know, really the real
Nice.
b-boying. So we got this
Nice, man.
flying or air backspin right here, bro. That is definitely
Yeah.
freaking awesome. And then we have, you know, you've done so many awesome things. So let's just head on over to this next awesome thing you did, which is freaking air flares while in the rope skipping, man. Tell us a little about this adventure.
By the way, left guy is Sebastian, and he's also from Belgium.
He's from exactly. Yeah, he is from Belgium, exactly.
Yes, he's from Belgium, so there's already connection. I like to connect with all these different, you know, artists, athletes, whatever, you know, and I like to create beautiful stuff to inspire people. You know, I think I was not the first with. I think there was who was it? Shorty who did it with only one rope.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
think
yeah.
it was the first with two ropes. You know, I
This
was
was-
the first with two ropes.
I do believe you were the first guy doing this.
Yeah, it's crazy, and you know, it was also the rhythm. It was only about the rhythm of bop, 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 bop. I should be always in the same tempo and not change the tempo. You know, and they just watch me
And they kind of
be
like adapted to
no.
you.
This was like a, you know, like a fusion, crossover. You know, like two different sports
Together.
You know, dance together. It's like always
But
beautiful.
was
when
it-
you
was
have a
it-
crossover like this?
But did you guys use this for a showcase or was this for any type of competition or
we-
was it just like a practice?
It was like Gymmotion tour. It's like a tour with all the gymnasts and circus people and all these kind of people doing crazy stuff, and everybody got a little show, like 5 minutes, and together it's like the whole night is like 2 hours, and you have all kinds of athletes and artists, you know, like together on stage. But everybody got his solo act. We had a like a beat Snoop, Demon, Killer ZB, and I don't remember who was it, but yeah, it was always fun. B-Boy Demon was also inside, and it was
Shout
always
out to
fun
B-Boy
because
Demon and Punisher, bro. Shout out to them, man.
all the way from the north of France.
I wouldn't know.
Yes,
I'm having a little bit of an
like you know,
internet
learn from
issue.
Other people, man, always and to create. Yeah, dope video, man.
I'm having-
2002, 12, sorry, 12.
2012. I'm having a little bit of a notification right here that the Wi-Fi is really slow, so just give it like 2 seconds really quick.
All right.
Anyways, anybody watching right now that can hear me, shout out to you guys watching and joining right here with Lil Amok. We're just looking at some crazy stuff he's been doing over the years. and you know, things that just made him the legend he is today, right? I'm trying to get that important information right there. All right, so we got a next video right here. Tell us about you and one hand hopping and 100 meters or something like that. Something like crazy you did, right?
Yeah, you know, like you know, because the last video was already test, you know, the firework video. I was like, okay, we have to do the two, you know, like the part 2. I was like, okay, now I have to do it every year, you know, because the people expect something, you know. And I was like, okay, I have to put it on the next level. I was looking for, and I didn't have the fireworks because they sell only the fireworks on the 20th. So I had like two days to prepare the video. I was like, shit, I didn't have a location. Then it was snowing. I was like, shit, I don't know where I can, you know. So you know, we went to Frankfurt with my friend. You know, Snoop was there, my cousin, Pete Air was supposed to be also in the video, but video didn't turn out so good with him because he was doing punch mills and like tap mills and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But it didn't look so good on the video, and I was like, if the video is too long, you know how YouTube is, and if something starts to be boring, you know, the people skip it. So I didn't want it to do anything wrong. I was like, okay, we have to keep it short and, you know, compact, you know. So I start with the one hand, you know, 100 meters on one arm. I suppose it was not a 100 meter on a video. I supposed to jump more. Then the fireworks stops. I thought the fireworks like 1 minute or something.
It just finished too quick. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, jumping without the firework. Okay, so I just stopped it, but I did it 2 or 3 times already, like the 100 meters on one arm, and yeah, I have to do it in the Guinness. Still, I'm waiting.
Oh wow.
I have to do it.
So 100 meters on with the one hand hops for the Guinness.
On one arm. Yeah, like maybe I'm not the fastest runner, but I don't think that Usain Bolt.
But yo, that is freaking crazy, man. 100 meters on one arm, bro. That's crazy. Like I could be like, I can do one hand ups, right? But if I could do like 5 meters, I would be really happy, bro. Even 5 meters might be really hard.
But it's really not. It's more like, you know, of course you jump, but it's also pulling really fast. You have to pull. Yeah,
you gotta pull your hand backwards with each hop.
And you know, a lot of people jump, you know, like to the, I always jump to the back. You know, I feel more comfortable.
And it goes faster.
Then I also, otherwise I have to neck like this, and this is not so comfortable. So I prefer to see where I'm going.
All right, let me just check something really quick right here. Hey guys, if you're just joining right here, welcome to the freaking live stream. We're chilling right here with Lil Amok, one of the best and sickest power heads ever to have hit the floors. And the best, you know, the crazy thing about you, Lil Amok, is that, you know, you do battle. A lot of people that are really good in tricks and power moves, they kind of like sometimes stay away from battle and competition. But still, I do believe you kind of like really, you know, went to battle and still really like didn't avoid, like you, at a part of you kind of knew, you know, just doing a lot of tricks and power moves can be in your disadvantage for a lot of competitions, right? But it didn't ever kind of stop you, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, 2000 injury, and this pulled me back a little bit, and then also life comes, you know, life, you know, you have to earn money, you have to do something, and you have to make a living, you know. And I choose to live from dancing, so I have to give my best and promote it, like I did on Facebook, YouTube. I did videos, I promote myself, I had a lot of jobs.
You did a lot of stuff yourself. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I travel a lot with flying steps also, and you know, I mean, like, you know, you also have, and then sometimes you lose the focus, you know. Now it's perfect for people like the Red Bull, Red Bull All Stars,
Yeah.
Red Bull BC1 All Stars. They get paid monthly and they can battle also. So this is the best. You know, they can stay, you know, in shape, go to events and also get paid. And this is like luxury, you know, like really good.
That's the
But I,
dream, right?
yes, but I did it different. I was touring, you know, like doing shows and all this commercial stuff. And yeah, that there you don't have the vibe, the energy to battle, you know, because you know you go there, you travel, go back, and then you always have to go in the practice mood because on in shows you just do what you already can do, and you make it perfect on the music in the show, perfect, you know. But you don't learn new stuff most of the time because you don't have time. You know, you have
You
to
just repeat.
function on the stage. You have to function, and you have to get the same applause at the same time, you know, again and again, and you know what the people like, and you also, you know, work with it, you know, with your experience, you know which moves. Okay, wait, ihre my the the connection is weak, or you hear me, everything good?
It's good. I think it was definitely skipping a little bit right now, but I think it's okay now.
Okay.
Is that okay? Yeah. Yeah, it's good. We're good. We're good. Hey, sorry guys for the connection and stuff. We're still learning this live stream. Anyways, I hope you're enjoying. We got Lil Amok right here. Still got a few more things I want to show. Now we went through, you know, a little bit of your history. We checked you out, you know, when as a kid, b-boying and still like learning air flares and evolving. But the crazy part is, like, bro, 20 years later is almost right. You know, you're still very active, and very recently, you know, you got to Crash Fest, which was freaking awesome, bro, because you know you came out there, you kind of like, this is not the same move you did earlier on, because right now you're going on to the other hand than the old video we checked on earlier on.
Yes.
But you know, nevertheless, what the point is here is that, you know, almost 20 years later, when we're seeing, you know, you know, there's so much time separated from the days you killed it back at IBE as a kid until today, but still, even there, that was IBE, right? You came back and you just kind of like still dominate the trick and power move aspect, and that's just crazy, man. Like, first of all, shout out for just keeping it real all that time, but above that, like, how was it for you to be there and like win the Crash Fest? And because you won it, right?
Yes. You've been the host, right?
I was the host. Yeah, I love hosting that kind of shit.
You hype it up, man. You hype it up.
I love it. I love it. But you know, how did it feel for you to win that, you know, that prestigious trick and battle event?
Yeah, I mean, like this. I mean, like, you know, I already saw the years before, you know, with Stuart and Lil G and everybody. And you know, I saw already, okay, that's the vibe, you know? And then he told me that he want to do, like, I was talking to Tofik, and he saw already I'm fit, you know, I'm practicing, you know, I was really in my practice mood, and he really catch the right time, you know. He called me and he said, hey, really, I would love you to be there. And he said, I asked him because I don't like to battle for nothing. I like to give the battle a meaning, and like you already said, you know, it's nostalgic, you know, nostalgia. You know, like I've been there at IBE 2003. Now I come back, like, when was it, 2019, like
16
you know,
years
like,
later.
16 years later I come
17
back,
years later,
and
yeah.
I come back, you know, and you know, Lil Kef was there, Lil G was there, so many generations, you know, the new generation, Bart, Suki.
Oh, Lil
You know,
Suki,
like
yeah.
Stuart, and so many
Stuart,
crazy,
Wizard.
yes, so many crazy people. And for me was just, of course, you know, I wanted to win, but it was more about, you know, I'm still here, you know, don't forget, you know. And
That
when
made
I
it
won,
freaking epic, man.
yeah,
We got
and
this
when I
another
won,
combo right here.
yeah, nice.
Yeah, that was just,
Yeah,
you know, and definitely shout out to Tsuki as well, that was there and took the other prize, right? Like they had
Yeah,
like the winner, and then
he took the best move. He took
best
the best
move.
move. Yeah. But for me, my favorite moment was this moment that you showed, like the one,
Yeah.
because I didn't expect it, you know, like that the people will react like this, you know, because it's a really short move, and I wanted to do something else after, because I thought it was not enough, and then
You
when
went to the other
everybody
hand.
went crazy, I was like, okay, that's enough. Okay, I did it, you know. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to miss this, because I was like I cannot put it higher, you know, the hype. And
Was it like this is the way you wanted to execute? Like it was prepared this way, or you were kind of lucky in a way?
you know, I normally I wanted to stuck, but at the same time on the hand, in a one hand, like on a hollow back.
A
But
two-handed
really
hollow back.
fast.
All right.
I did it. I did it one time. I posted on Instagram. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like, but not one after the other. Straight, both hands.
Both hands.
No, I do the one at elbow, and straight land. You know, like
Yeah.
at the same time, kind of. You know, like to already turn the body already.
We call it the Kim two hands.
Yes.
Kim two hands to hollow back. And it ended up in a one-handed hollow back again on the other hand. So if you've been watching the whole live stream up to now, just realize that in the black and white video clip, he did the hollow back on his invert 90 hand. But in this, like some 10 years later or something like that, he just does kind of a combo, right? But he does the one-handed hollow back on his 90 hand. So that's the other hand. So this means, you know, if we're going to talk, you know, seriously and, you know, scientifically about your breaking, Lil Amok, is that you can do a one-handed hollow back on both hands. And that's freaking crazy, actually. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I mean, like, you know, you have to feel comfortable in these weird positions. You know, sometimes, you know,
One-handed hollow back somehow?
yeah. You know, I'm like, when you do a hand balance, you can turn your body, you know, and try it. You know, there are some circus people who really does it really good, but I mean, like, from a fast move, it's always harder to get in, you know, fast, because they take like 15 seconds till they get the point, and then they go slow down, and there's so much technique, but there you need really, you know, like the core is so important to hold it, the shoulder to stick it also, you know, the hands to not be so slippery.
Yeah, and
know,
that
so many
perfect technique,
factors.
right?
So many factors, you know, sometimes you have to check the floor again and again. Okay, this move I cannot do it, you know it, you know, when you do palm moves, some floors are really shit.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you have to change your moves before the battle.
That's why I used to wear the glove all the time, because I have these sweaty hands and I would just slip when doing flares.
Oh shit, this
And
is
people used to tell me, "Oh, you got the glove, you're gonna do 90s," but it was actually to stick against the floor,
Ah,
to
okay.
slip on the floor.
Yeah,
but-
everybody got his special tricks, man. Like,
Yeah. So crazy, man. One-handed hollow back on both sides. So listen, we're gonna have to almost finish up the live stream right here. But I have, like, I showed it to Machine last week. It was funny, and I still have it like in the software. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna show this to Lil Amok as well. And I want everybody's reaction on this. I could get your reaction to it, I could get Machine's reaction to it. I just want to show you this. You're a fan of Too Hard to Bite. Some, you know, so, yeah, like everything that's too hard to bite, like things that are really hard, really crazy. You've seen a lot of things, right? But bro, you have never seen this before. I am about to show you a guy that does a head slide on his face. And I'm not talking about, you know, I just doing something. He really slides over that head right there, over that face right there. So obviously here we have Lil Amok still doing that one-handed hollow back right there.
again and again.
Again and again, baby. Wait, let me turn this off really quick. Where's it at?
Hey, slide? Serious?
Yo, not a head slide. Ladies and gentlemen, right here live, you're gonna see Lil Amok's reaction to somebody doing a face slide. You heard me right. A face slide. Here we go. Check this out, bro.
Oh! Is it midget or what?
I think it's, you know, it's maybe a small person, definitely.
Shit!
But
Hey,
look
this
at
is-
look
Hey,
at the
this is
balance, how
like-
the balance is perfectly placed, right?
Hey, I mean, like he's a boxer. Maybe his nose is really, like the boxing nose, where you can put it in, because the face is the only place where b-boys didn't spin, because we spin everywhere on
You
the
can't spin on
shoulder.
your face, bro. Yeah,
Like, this is the only places, or on your ear. This is also a place where nobody spins, on your ear. But the face, hey, bro, this is too much.
this is it's pretty. Yo, you should like post this on Too Hard to Bite
Hey,
tomorrow or
was it on
something like.
purpose? Was it on purpose? No.
I
Accident. It's accident, right?
I think it's an accident, but definitely don't try it at home, though, guys. Definitely don't try this at home.
You got
Face
serious
slide.
neck problems after this.
You know what I think really astonishing right here is how he actually slides and how well, like, even though it is an accident, like how well the technique is executed. That's what I think is amazing in this video.
I mean, like, if he would turn it on the head again and then roll up on the back, like really flowy. Wow.
But even if you would do that in a battle, like slide over your face, it's just gonna be so freaking crazy, man.
This is, hey, man.
Hey, so that's what I wanted to show you real quick right there.
Hey, that's the video of the months.
That's the video of the month, bro. Face slide. And I'm gonna show it to every freaking guest that I'm gonna have on the show right here. Okay, bro, we've been streaming for an hour and a half already. I think, I think it was an awesome time that we managed to spend here together. And
I have to thank you, brother. Really, I really feel comfortable. I had a good time. You prepared so good. I have to thank you for this crazy live stream, and thanks to all the people who've been watching and supporting this dope movement for me. One of the craziest.
So if you don't follow Lil Amok or Too Hard to Bite yet, which you probably already do, just make sure, just look it up, just make sure, am I following? All right, I'm following. But of course, Lil Amok right here, and again, it's a real honor to have you right here on the show, because what's for me really important right now is that people will learn from your experience, definitely. But another thing that's really important is that we keep the status of the people that have done certain things, that we keep that alive. There's a lot of new generation b-boys and b-girls coming up right now, and let's be honest, guys. Let's all be honest about this. The way we talk about the past and share information about the past and people that have done crazy stuff and changed our game in the past, like the way we share information about this is freaking still in the Stone Age, man. Like, we're really not good at this, and that's why I think this is really important that we have guys like this and have these guys speak up, and you actually know, like, at least 10% or 20% of what he's done in his life, right? You know what I mean? And I hope we covered a little bit of basics for you guys, and I hope you have a better idea of who Lil Amok is and what he has done over the years, and how he actually changed up this b-boy game and just raised the bar. And still, the freaking legend he's still, he wants to give $10,000 to the first guy. He's supporting. He's trying to get $10,000 to the guy doing the first double air flare. How epic is that? And he's gonna renew the challenge. He just said it right here tonight.
Yeah, I have to refresh it. I have to do something new because the people are sleeping right now.
People
it's
are
winter
sleeping,
time in Germany, maybe in Europe, but not in South America. I see Bart is practicing outside, so keep it going, guys.
Raise it up to $20,000.
Yeah, we need money, more money in the b-boy scene, more sponsors. That's why you're doing it already perfect. The way how you presented it, it looks expensive, my brother.
Yo, Coach Sambo got that dough, man.
Yes, it looks nice. I like it. Spicy.
Hey, anyways, Lil Amok, thank you a million times for being on the show. Listen, I'm gonna do a few other guests. I'm gonna try some new concepts, but in the future, I definitely, you gotta come back.
Yeah,
we're gonna have some more fun, and we're gonna, I'll have some other stuff prepared, and we're just gonna do some crazy stuff.
You make me gonna step my game up. The live thing, I got also OCB or OBS.
OBS, yeah.
Yes, I have it also, but I have to step my game up, bro. You inspire me. You motivate me. You've been working. That's why I appreciate everything. So, thank you for this great talk. So my friend is here with me, and he's watching UFC. You are watching UFC also?
I
You
don't really
following?
watch. No, I'm not watching a lot of UFC. A lot of my friends watch UFC, but I actually do not. I watch Mandalorian. If I don't,
Okay. I don't know.
I'm more into Star Wars kind of stuff.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, you have to be in your zone, bro. Really, in your own
Exactly
world.
right. If you know, if you're into UFC, you're into UFC. So again, once more, thank you for being on the show, guys. I just want to remind you, tomorrow I'm doing a free workshop for beginners. Well, it's not a workshop, it's a class. It's an online class. And you might ask yourself, what's so special about an online class? What's the difference between an online class and the live stream that I'm doing right here? Is I'm going to be able to see you, and I'm going to be able to
sign up, guys. Sign up.
Oh, you definitely have to sign up. So if you go to my website, coachsambo.com, you can sign up for free. Just enter your email address. You'll have the link sent to your email address, and then you can join us tomorrow, 9 till 10 p.m. Central Europe time. And so I just want to throw that out right there. And if you're working on windmills and stuff like that, it's the perfect class for you. Next week, I'm doing an intermediate power move class. We're going to be working on spinning handstands and positions. We're going to be working on flares. We're going to work on a little bit on perfecting ground power and stuff like that. Join us. It's the freaking future. And trust me on that. Sorry, Adnan, I had to make a little bit of publicity for the classes.
No, perfect. Even me, I didn't know it. Thank you for the information.
Hey guys, if you're just tuning in right now, you can just scroll back and this live stream was freaking awesome. Just watch the stream from the beginning. You're gonna learn a lot of stuff, that's really handy for you, and you're gonna learn a lot of stuff about Lil Amok. Hey, Lil Amok, one more time, thank you for joining. Everybody watching, thank you for joining. This was awesome, and I'm gonna eat myself a slice of pizza.
All right,
and see you guys soon. Lil Amok, we'll talk soon, brother. Thank you again for being on the show.
Ciao.
Peace, brother.
Ciao.
All right, so next week I might have B-Boy Wicked on the show. He doesn't know yet, but I'm gonna send him an Instagram message right now asking him if he wants to join and be the live stream guest for next week. Above having guests on, I really want to step things up. So I got things in mind, like let's just say like a quiz. We were talking about that earlier on. I could do a live stream like this, and I could prepare the questions, really dope, really awesome, and just have you do the quiz. Let's just see how your b-boy knowledge is. Let me know in the comments if you want that to happen one of these days. And then other things I'm really interested in is doing maybe like some more kind of a competition kind of thing, and let's just say having multiple people on the Zoom, and having everybody stand by, and I'm gonna just host it and do like a longest halo kind of thing, or maybe best footwork kind of thing, because I could get 50 people up in this live stream right here easy. So it's just a matter of thinking and kind of like what can we do to this, and what can we do that's really, really awesome, and have you also join us here if you're good at Halo or one-hand hops or stuff like that. That's definitely going to be something I want to work on. So I need your feedback, and I need you guys to tell me like, hey Sambo, that sounds like a cool idea. Hey, I would join the quiz. Why not? Just let me know. The more I know, the better, and the more we can take this channel up to this next level. Because here at Coach Sambo's YouTube channel, it might have my name right there, but it's actually all about you and taking you to that next level. So next week we might be having B-Boy Wicked on. If it's not going to be B-Boy Wicked, I have other people in mind for the live stream, and I'm definitely sure we're going to have some more next level guests joining us, and having a blast and learning stuff about the past, and learning stuff to take us to the next level. This is your man, Coach Sambo, your online b-boy coach. And guys, at the end of the day, when you think about it, live streams or not, it's just all about that b-boy shit. Thank you for joining. See you on the next live stream, and maybe see you tomorrow in my online Zoom class that you can find on my website, coachsambo.com. Peace, and take care, guys. Are you having trouble going from a windmill to an air flare?
Whoa, how did you know, bro?
Well, I have really great news for you, because I will be showing you the smartest and most efficient way for you to learn that combo. So if you want to be able to go from a windmill to a 90